Good morning, boys and girls. Let us today try to understand the reading comprehension. As you are aware that there are four skills of a language, important four skills. We have listening, we have reading, we have writing, and we have speaking, communication. But if you talk of reading, you have extensive reading, you have intensive reading, you have scanning, you have skimming, you have silent reading, you have loud reading, you have number of things. But our topic today is reading comprehension, and that is very important to understand the things. What happens, you have a reader that encodes the text, and what is the process of a student or a reader is to decode the text. Reading comprehension is simply, you are given unseen passages, and the motive behind is to test the ability of a student, or it can be a way of measuring the understanding power of a student. That is, reading comprehension. A passage is given which generally is not from student's textbook and is followed by some questions to be answered. The questions can be of two types. One is content based questions related to subject matter and theme of the passage, and another type of questions are simply based on words and expressions. By words and expressions, we simply mean they contain phrases, there may be idioms, and you may be asked about the grammar. That is, that is to judge a student, to test the ability of a student, and to understand the power of a student, understanding power of a student, whether he is able to comprehend the text fully or not. That is a question which needs to be looked at. Now, boys and girls, there are some useful tips which you should keep in mind while reading the text, while understanding the text. Now, there are certain points we will try to understand them. Read the given passage carefully in order to understand its subject and what is said about the subject. Now, first of all, what you have to do, you have to read the passage that is given to you very carefully with complete concentration so that you may be able to understand its subject, or you will be able to understand what this text is all about. That is the first thing you have to do. Then again, see, give the passage a second reading in order to grasp the main points of the passage in the passage and meaning of different words and expressions. Now, the second reading is very important. By the second reading, I don't mean loud reading, I mean silent reading with complete concentration. If you talk of loud reading, that is necessary only for what is called, for the pronunciation point of view, in order to check whether you speak correct, or there may be, some problems with regard to the pronunciation. If you see the silent reading, that is to be focused. Silent reading is all important. It is that type of reading that allows you to comprehend the text fully. Now, what you have to do next, you have to go through the second reading, and that reading should be very silent reading. That should be to grasp the what is called the main points in the passage, or in other words, you can say to grasp the gist of the passage, or you will be able to understand the theme of the passage and meaning of different words in the text. Sometimes what happens is it is not an easy job. The text is coded by encoded by the writer or the author, and the reader has to decode it. And that a student or a reader can easily decode it if he is reading the passage with full concentration. And it is not only the second reading, you can go sometimes for the third reading as well. There is no question about it. Okay. Then the third thing which you have to do is read the questions one by one and underline the sentences, words, and expressions in the original passage, which will help you to find the answer. Now, this is interesting to understand. What you have to do? You have to read the questions one by one. If you are not able to understand the question, how it is possible you can make an answer to that? That's why go through the questions one by one and try to locate the sentences, to identify the sentences, words, and expressions in the original passage and make them underline so that you will be able to understand the things fully. It is important to note that the understanding of questions is much more important than writing the answers. Understanding of questions is certainly very important. If you don't understand the question, how it is possible you will make a correct answer? And the fourth thing that you have to do is try to write the answers as far as possible in your own tongue, in your own words. Don't copy and paste. Whatever answer you understand, try to write that answer in your own words. Fifth thing with regard to this passage is simply make sure that your answer is very clear, complete in every respect, brief, and to the point. Now, another thing which you have to ensure is simply that your answer should be accurate, it should be precise, it should be brief, it should be to the point. Remember, boys and girls, you're just asked to write the answers of the questions that is given under a passage, but all the questions are either short type questions, or it can be objective type questions, or it can be multiple choice type questions, right? That's why your answer must be very precise, it should be accurate, it should be focused to the point, it should be you can say a clear cut answer. And another thing which you have to keep in mind, and that can be the last thing, the answers must be free from grammatical mistakes like spelling problem, pronunciation, and tense, etc. Your answer should be free from grammatical mistakes. You have to take care of grammar as well, right? Your spelling should be correct, your punctuation should be okay. There shouldn't be any problem with regard to this. Or sometimes what happens, your answer with regard to the tense must be quite correct, right? You have to take care of all these things in order to make your answers, right? Okay, boys and girls, let us have an example. We will try to understand how to understand the passage fully. This is a very simple passage. We will go for certain passages to make some practice in the next in the coming lectures. Now this is the passage. Read the following passage and answer the questions given at the end. After having lived in Sam village from over 30 years, Ghulam Ahmad was forced to move to a new place. He surprised his landlord by telling him that he was leaving because he couldn't afford to buy any more bread. It all began a year ago when Ghulam Ahmad returned home one evening and found a large dog in front of his gate. He was very fond of animals, and as he happened to have a small loaf of bread in his pocket, he gave it to the dog. The next day, the dog was there again. The dog held up its paws and received another loaf of bread as a reward. Ghulam Ahmad called his new friend German. He never found out dog's real name or his owner. However, German appeared regularly every evening, and it was quite clear that he realized bread better than bones. He grew dissatisfaction with small loaves of bread and demanded large ones. If at any time Ghulam Ahmad neglected his duty, German got very angry and refused to let him open the gate. Thus, Ghulam Ahmad was now at German's mercy and had to bribe him in order to get into his own house. He spent such a large part of his weekly wage to keep the Germans supplied with the bread that in the end he had to move to a new place. Now, boys and girls, this passage I read it for you, but what you do, you will go for it silent reading. When you will go for it silent reading, then you know you are able to, you have to understand question, and then you are able to write the answers. Right now, see, this is I am giving you certain time that you should be able to comprehend the text on your own. Now the underline, sentences. I will make it clear. This is, I have done it for you so that you may be able to understand the things fully. Okay, boys and girls, now try to understand. This is your first question. How did Ghulam Ahmad surprise his landlord? How did Ghulam Ahmad surprise his landlord? Now, look at the passage. How he surprised. Now, this is, the part that is underlined at the top. Try to understand this. He surprised his landlord by telling him that he was leaving because he couldn't afford to buy any more bread. He surprised his landlord by telling him that he was leaving because he couldn't afford to buy any more bread. Right? Now, this is the answer to this particular question. Now, see another question. What made German become regular visitor? What made German become a regular visitor? To understand question is more important than to write the answer, right? What made German? What made German become a regular visitor? Now see this much. He was very fond of animals, and as he happened to have a small loaf of bread in his pocket, he gave it to the dog. He was very fond of animals, and as he happened to have a small loaf of bread in his pocket, he gave it to the dog. Right? Now, this is how he became what? A regular visitor. German. See another question. What punishment was given to Ghulam Ahmad if he ever neglected his duty? If Ghulam Ahmad ever neglected his duty, what is the punishment that is given to the Ghulam Ahmad? If now see the underlined part of the question. If at any time Ghulam Ahmad neglected his duty, German got angry and refused to let him open the gate. Right? If at any time Ghulam Ahmad neglected his duty, German got very angry and refused to let him open the gate. Right? Now he refused him to open the gate. See another question. Do you think that Ghulam Ahmad was unkind to animals? No. The answer is very simple, no. How do you know? I will show you the line, right? Now see this part which is underlined, and the beginning of the sentence. He was very fond of animals. He was very fond of animals. Remember, when he says he was very fond of animals, now here you can understand question 4. Do you think that Ghulam Ahmad was unkind to animals? No. How it is possible? When a person is fond of animals, it is not possible he is considered, he his treatment regarding the animals might be unkind. Okay. Now the last question. Pick out the appropriate words from the passage which mean the following. Pick out the appropriate words from the passage which mean the following. क्या होना चाहिए? Offer a gift in order to corrupt. You are offering a gift in order to corrupt somebody, and you can easily understand what it means. You are trying to give a gift to somebody in order to what? In order to make some sort of corruption. First, and another thing, payment made for work done. You are providing money to a person when he is completing his work, right? Now, first, offer a gift in order to corrupt. You can understand it here. Two words are underlined by me, right? One is, see this. Ghulam Ahmad was now German's mercy and had to bribe him. In order to get his own house, right? Now, when you say to bribe him, it in other words means simply you are offering a gift in order to make some sort of corruption, right? Now, see another thing, payment made for work done. Obviously, what is it? He spent such a large part of his weekly wages. It is considered to be wages, right? When you say wages is simply what? Payment made for the work done. Okay? I believe you have understood the text fully, right? Try to, do the same type of activity, uh, you know, uh, taking unseen passages at your home. Okay? Now, see, these are certain answers to these questions. Question number first, if you remember, Ghulam Ahmad was surprised. Ghulam Ahmad surprises his landlord by telling him that he was leaving his house because he couldn't not afford to buy any more bread. Another answer to question number 2, Ghulam Ahmad gave German a loaf of bread. This made German become a regular visitor, right? Now see the third one. If he ever neglected his duty, Ghulam Ahmad would not be allowed to open the gate and get into his house, right? Answer to question number 4, no, Ghulam Ahmad was not unkind to animals. Now the last question, it is simply bribe and wage. Okay? I believe you have understood now the text, right? We will be meeting you in the next, lecture. May God bless you. Till then, goodbye.